Hi, I'm Jasmine Orambuena, and today I'm going to be talking about predicting future earthquakes for Haiti. In my last vlog, we covered what exactly makes Haiti so prone to earthquakes, and we found out that Haiti is so prone to earthquakes simply because of where it's located. And it's located in the center of, I believe, four faults, causing it to be so prone to natural disasters and especially earthquakes. And in today's video, which I forgot to mention in my last one, we're going to be talking about predicting future earthquakes for Haiti and how research and how scientists have been able to figure out what is going to be hit next in Haiti, what earthquakes are coming our way, what is planned in terms of natural disasters for Haiti. I believe that in predicting future earthquakes for Haiti, it'll allow us to better create a structure that can prepare us for what is yet to come. And I believe that finding out this information and finding out where Haiti is going to be hit next is important in terms of my paper and our research question and our research proposal, simply because when we find out this information, when we are able to predict these future earthquakes and these magnitudes, I believe that we can better understand the infrastructure that we need to create and the prototype that we need to create that will be able to withstand the magnitudes of earthquakes that we expect to hit Haiti again. And I believe that finding out this information is really important, just because, like I said in a recent video, finding out the causes of these natural disasters and how to prevent them is a huge key to this paper. So I believe that with this research today, we can create a structure that can withstand future earthquakes. So today's research engine is Google. So we chose to use Google today because when I originally searched up future earthquake predictions or future earthquake prediction systems, it would not come up on the FIU libraries, or at least there weren't enough sources that I think could help further evaluate the research and the information that we're about to gather. So today on Google, we're just going to type in Haiti earthquake future predictions, and we're going to use the source Scientists Assess Haiti's Future Earthquake Threats. And this is by phys.org. I believe that this would be a credible source just because it's an organization that created the website. It's a science organization, and I've used the website before. It says here that before the January 12th earthquake that leveled Port-au-Prince, the last great quake to strike Haiti was more than 150 years ago. Assessing historical seismic activity can be critical to understanding the future threat that earthquakes pose to Haiti's long-term stability and recovery. On February 24th, scientists from several research centers set sail to conduct a 20-day research cruise off of Haiti to examine the surrounding ocean floor for evidence of the recent earthquakes. They have gathered sonar images, sediments, and other evidence from the seafloor to see where strain may be building even now as aftershocks continue to rattle Haiti and nearby countries. We need to characterize what happened on the seafloor and in the subsurface before storms and waves wipe out the evidence, said Chief Scientist Cecilia McHugh, a marine geologist at Columbia University's Lamont Doherty Earth Observatory and professor at Queens College in New York. Figuring out how this earthquake worked and where other earthquakes may be prone to occur is critical for a lot of things, including where to resettle people, where to build houses, and how strong to build them. This quote stood out to me the most just because it says how strong to build them. And I just believe that this source will evidently back up why it should be a source and why it's credible. Just because, as I said in the previous vlog, finding out and researching what makes Haiti so prone to earthquakes, what are the causes, and what can be done or what can be used to predict future earthquakes is just a very valuable source in terms of my research proposal, because it can determine what materials can be used to create that stronger infrastructure and that stronger home structure when we continue on with this project. So I will continue to read the source. So it says the expedition, funded by the U.S. National Science Foundation, was organized by scientists at the Lamont Doherty Earth Observatory, part of the Earth Institute, with participation from researchers at the Haitian Bureau of Mines, the University of Haiti, and the Universities of Missouri, Texas, California, and Rhode Island. The RV Endeavour, which is owned by the NSF and operated by the University of Rhode Island, carried a variety of high and low frequency sonars that can both map sea bottom topography in fine detail and show cross sections of any disturbances in the first 50 meters of sediment. So, as we showed in the last vlog, the Haiti earthquake took place along the east to west running Enriquillo Fault, which is a giant strike slip structure where two pieces of the Earth's crust slide by each other in opposite directions. After a big slip, stress is usually transferred to nearby areas as the Earth rearranges itself, heightening the risk of more events. Aftershocks following the quake have been particularly vigorous. Some 60 have rattled the region, causing additional casualties. One of the researchers' target areas is just west of the capital city of Port-au-Prince, where the main fault leaves land and runs offshore. Here, radar images, aerial photography, and corals once underwater and now shooting above sea level show that part of the coast was thrust up as much as a foot and a half during the quake, while adjoining areas dropped. At the same time, a small tsunami killed 7 people in their area, sending minor waves toward other Caribbean nations. Most of the quake's aftershocks were clustered here as well, not along the main east-west fault, but rather in a northeast-southwest trend, much of it offshore. Lamont Doherty seismologist Leonardo Sabir, who was on that cruise, said that the aftershock pattern, the up and down movement, and the tsunami all suggest the presence of an unmapped fault or fault system cutting obliquely across the main fault. Strike-slip earthquakes do not normally cause tsunamis, but thrust faults do because they displace water upward. Tsunamis accompanied earthquakes in this area in 1751, 1769, and 1842, but little is known about them. Samples and images gathered by the ship should clarify the tsunami mechanism, show how much faults ruptured offshore recently and in the past, and could suggest where new strain might be building. The expedition worked closely with an onshore team led by Paul Mann of the University of Texas, Austin, and returned to Florida on March 15. Mann and others had warned that strain was probably building in the region well before the recent quake. Estimates of what could happen will be vastly improved when we get a better idea of the fault structure, how they move, and how they could affect each other, said Sabir. It's important for the country to get a hold of this knowledge because they need to plan. An additional source I found for today's vlog is by livescience.com, and it's called Haiti Could Be a New Earthquake Cycle, Scientists Say. And so here we see a picture of Haiti's earthquake history from 1900 to 2010. The depths and the magnitudes are indicated right here with the red, green, and blue section indicating the depths of each individual earthquake, and the magnitude following it on the side. So the source reads that the magnitude 7.0 earthquake that shook Port-au-Prince, Haiti, 2 years ago nearly demolished the city and took both residents and geologists by surprise. Now, a team of scientists thinks they've identified a centuries-long pattern of earthquakes on the island of Hispaniola, which comprises both Haiti and the Dominican Republic, that could portend earthquakes to come. Although past seismic activity can't be used to predict future quakes, the findings may help residents and those hoping to rebuild Port-au-Prince prepare for the next big one, said William Bacune, a geologist with the U.S. Geological Survey in Menlo Park, California. Quote unquote, he says, people shouldn't be surprised if in the decades to come there are more very damaging earthquakes in the region. Bacune told Our Amazing Planet, and they should plan and build accordingly. Bacune and his colleagues gathered historical records, letters, drawings, newspaper clippings, and more from residents of Hispaniola since the time that Christopher Columbus dropped anchor at the island. From descriptions of shaking and damage, Bacune was able to estimate the intensities, magnitudes, and locations of historical earthquakes. It was in the interest of the Spanish colonies to report all damage back to the king, Bacune explained, because he was in the habit of supplying them funds to rebuild critical facilities, cathedrals, and the like. So there are actually very detailed records of Hispaniola's earthquakes. A critical part of the analysis was comparing people's accounts of shaking in the historical tremors to what residents reported feeling in the 2010 earthquake. Bakun said from that, the team was able to understand how seismic waves traveled through the island, which helped them estimate the sizes and locations of the historical quakes. Hidden in the historical data, the team found a striking pattern of quakes and quiescence. From about 1500 to 1701, the records mention no seismic activity. Then suddenly in 1701, an estimated magnitude 6.6 earthquake struck west of Port-au-Prince. Bakun and his team pinpointed that quake to the east-west trending Incrio Fault, the same fault thought to have ruptured in the 2010 earthquake. The accounts of shaking and damage in 1701 were also very similar to those of the 2010 quake, Bacon said. The region was then quiet for another 50 years until a devastating magnitude 7.5 earthquake struck the eastern end of the Incrio Fault in October 1751 in the Dominican Republic. A month later, a magnitude 6.6 quake shook Port-au-Prince again, followed by a magnitude 7.5 earthquake on the western end of the Incrio Fault in 1770. Finally, the fault went silent. Incrio Fault system ruptured during the 70 years of earthquakes, then it shut off. Bacon said, "We're certainly not suggesting that things will repeat precisely as they did in the 18th century, but history tells us that we shouldn't be surprised if we have intervals. In the 18th century, it was 50 years of quiet before the next one really takes off." Most importantly, residents and engineers should rebuild Port-au-Prince with an eye toward future seismic activity, Bacon said. The consensus is that the quality of construction and building practices were not sufficient for the 2010 earthquake, Bacon said. "We certainly know how to build buildings that can withstand that kind of earthquake, but the construction practices have been in place in the region don't cut it." The team's findings will appear in the February issue of the Bulletin of the Seismological Society of America. So as the previous source recently stated, this information that we found in today's vlog is definitely going to help in writing our final proposal and our final solutions in terms of better constructing a home for Haiti. Simply because, as Bakun stated, the consensus is that the quality of construction and building practices were not sufficient for the 2010 earthquake. And we certainly know how to build buildings that can withstand that kind of earthquake, but the construction practices that have been in place in the region just simply don't cut it. And I believe that this source strongly backs up what I was trying to say in my proposal, and will definitely be a source that we can use to support the idea of constructing a better home structure for homes in Haiti. And with that being said, I would like to end today's vlog with the next research question. That being, what materials and what sources can we use to create these future home structures and create these better home structures for a better home in Haiti that can withstand future natural disasters as severe as the ones that we have recently experienced in Haiti, and even bigger ones that are yet to come. So thank you very much for watching my vlog today.